find treasure, and you could become instantly rich, maybe even famous. While you could discover a part of history that we thought was gone forever, or something we never even knew existed. And unlike many other legends, hidden treasure is well documented. And why one of us could stumble across some at any point in our lives without warning. Elysian Park. Elysian Park is La's oldest and second largest park, spread over roughly 600 acres. It's not beyond the realms of possibility, therefore, that the legends of treasure there lost for over 150 years could be true. Treasure hunter Roy Rausch claimed to have found etchings in rocks that he believes may point to the location of this treasure, while another man by the name of Marvin Baker also claims to have found such makeshift maps in the rocks. To this day, however, no treasure has been discovered in Elysian Park. Nine lake toplets. High in the Austrian Alps and deep in the dense mountain forest, Lake Toplitz is an ideal place to hide $5.6 billion of stolen gold. Rumors have long surrounded this isolated lake, with lifelong local Mikkel Kaltenbrunner claiming she can guarantee that the Nazis dumped gold in the lake. She would have been about 10 years old when World War II ended. Poverty Island. Poverty Island in Lake Michigan is home to a lonely lighthouse and an absolutely ridiculous amount of gold, if legends are to be believed. Estimates based place the value of the lost gold at around $400 million today. There are many legends surrounding the possible origin of this gold, the first of which dates back to the 1750s. According to this theory, British forces attacked a French ship sailing across Lake Michigan to lure the Native Americans with gold. To prevent the British from seizing the gold, the captain ordered it be thrown overboard. An almost identical story is attributed to the War of 1812. The legends are far from over, however, as in 2014, two men claimed to have found a shipwreck of what they claimed to be the Griffin, a French ship. However, 3 years on, they have yet to provide any proof of their supposed $2 million discovery. Skeleton Canyon. Skeleton Canyon is located in the Peloncillo Mountains along the Arizona-New Mexico border. Prior to the 20th century, the canyon was a popular trail for smugglers looking to quietly move their booty to Tucson, as well as for the bandits looking to ambush them. While it is possible, or even likely, that Skeleton Canyon contains multiple sites of hidden treasure, the Skeleton Canyon treasure refers to one specific haul, originally known as the Monterey Loot. Six Kruger's million Stephanus Johannes Paulus Kruger, or Uncle Paul for short, was the third president of the South African Republic for over 17 years at the close of the 19th century. With the advent of the Second Boer War and public opinion turning against him, Kruger fled South Africa in 1900, 2 years before his presidency officially ended. But not before taking a little something for himself first. As Kruger made his escape for Europe, rumors swirled that the train he was riding on was also carrying a substantial amount of gold. Subsequent investigations revealed not only that £1.5 million had been stolen from the government, but that it had been slowly siphoned off for months. Five years later, a prisoner named John Holtzhausen revealed that he had been hired to bury the gold north of Leicester and was the last surviving member of the team. Five Tsars treasure. When most people think of Russian royalty, they'll think of one of three things: oppression, conspiracy, or decadence. It should come as no surprise, therefore, that Tsar Nicholas II allegedly stashed away what would now be billions of dollars worth of treasure prior to the Bolshevik Revolution in 1917. The only question is where. Finally, another theory suggests that the gold may have been aboard a Trans-Siberian train that crashed into Lake Baikal, which just happens to be the oldest and deepest lake in the world. Excavations have been attempted, but have met with little success other than confirming the location of the train. For Ivory Coast crown jewels, in 2010, the Ivory Coast held its first election in over 10 years, which saw the incumbent President Gbagbo pitted against the much more popular Alassane Ouattara. When Gbagbo was declared the winner, the country was thrown into a turmoil that would become known as the 2010-2011 Ivorian crisis. Although the crisis was short-lived, and Ouattara has shown himself to be a promising figure for change after being democratically re-elected 5 years later, this brief conflict may have cost the coast one of its most valuable treasures. The Ivory Coast crown jewels. As civil war raged through the country, with heavy UN is valued at around $6 million, it is the immense cultural significance of these objects that sets them apart from other similar losses. Unlike most crown jewels, which are passed down from heir to heir, the Ivory Coast collection represented multiple kingdoms and dynasties, making the loss of this diverse collection especially devastating. Interpol is trying to locate the items on the black market, but have had no success to date. The Awamaru, originally intended to be an ocean liner, the Awamaru was a Japanese warship built during World War II. With the end of the war drawing near, the U.S. grew increasingly concerned for Allied troops being held captive in Japan. Not because they feared mass execution, but because the Japanese were low on resources and would prioritize their own people over their enemies. Switzerland, in its usual peaceful manner, negotiated a deal between the two sides. The U.S. would send emergency supplies, allowing Japanese ships to pass by unbombed. Seeing an opportunity to turn the war around, the Japanese used ships much larger than necessary, letting them safely transport raw materials, their brightest citizens, and a collection of invaluable treasure, such as gold and art. Unfortunately for the Japanese, bad weather prevented the entire U.S. fleet from hearing the no-bombing plan, and the USS Queenfish torpedoed the Awamaru in 1945, killing all but one of the 2,004 people on board. Although the U.S. concealed the location of the sunken ship for some time, it was declassified and revealed to have gone down in Chinese waters. In the 1970s, a Chinese expedition spent millions trying to recover the treasure, but turned up nothing. The value of the treasure, which included ivory, precious metal, gemstones, and historical artifacts, has been estimated as $10 billion, making it potentially the biggest haul in treasure hunting history. To Brinksmat robbery. The Brinksmat warehouse was a highly secure facility located in Heathrow Airport, London. On November 26, 1983, the security guard on shift was Anthony Black, an inside man who allowed 6 gunmen into the facility. The original plan was to break in and abscond with as much cash as possible, but upon entering, the men discovered much more than they bargained for. The warehouse was teeming with platinum, gold, diamonds, checks, and cold hard cash. After dousing the staff in petrol and threatening to set them alight, the men packed up the goods and fled. What was intended to be a haul of around £3 million cash ended up being a literal treasure trove to the tune of £26 million. Black, who has links to the criminal underworld through his brother-in-law, was sentenced to 6 years in prison, while 2 of the armed men were caught and also received sentences of 25 years. Police could trace how a lot of the haul was laundered, but it is believed that £10 million worth of gold remains hidden, and the case has yet to be solved in full. One Hatton Garden Heist. Hatton Garden is the Amsterdam of Britain, with a long history of jewelers and diamond traders